Hi, this is PR Sundar. Welcome to pre-market report sponsored by taxbuddy.com and finbingo.com. Let us look at the global cues. The globally markets were jitter ahead of US inflation data. So I always say the fear of some bad incident is actually worse than the bad incident. So 2-3 days before, the US markets fell already, but yesterday was the US inflation data, but yesterday also US market did not fall. In fact, day before yesterday also it did not fall. So they closed marginally higher, and not very high, but it's marginally higher. So global cues are positive as of now. And coming back to our local cues, when all the data was very good, our markets did not go up. It kept on falling. But yesterday the IAP data was not really very good. Consumer price inflation data actually was not really very good. That's at about 5 months high. But SGX Nifty indicating more than 100 point higher at opening. And in fact, the last 1000, 1200 point, we have been moving almost 150 to 200 point on everyday basis, and that too non-stop. Just imagine FII sold 1 lakh crore in last 3 months. Nifty fell 2000 point. In the month of January, they did not even buy 1000 crore. Now we are inching towards all-time high. We are just 250 point away from all-time high. So TCS, Infosys, Wipro, all three results came. So looks like Wipro the results are not really very good. The ADR, American Depository Receipt, that is Wipro shares being traded in US markets, is down by 8.5%. And Infosys was up 3%. So here Infosys was up 1% yesterday. In US it is up 3%. So that means, we can expect 2% gap up today morning in case of Infosys. However, TCS shares are not being traded globally, so therefore we will not have any indication. But many so-called fake experts try to entice the innocent investors by saying TCS is doing a buyback at 4,500, therefore shares will go by to 4,500. That is actually not true. In the past also, many times many companies have announced buybacks at a price higher than the market price. The prices will not go. So maybe I will come out with a separate video about all these buybacks. But one thing I can tell you, TCS buyback of 18,000 crore, about 13,000 crore will go back to their own company called Tata Sons. So the retail people will get hardly 4,000 crore, and that will be just 1% of what the people are holding. Which means if you are holding 100 shares, you may get to sell one share at 4,500. It doesn't mean that everything will go to 4,500. So forget about it. So yesterday markets were remarkably resilient, and that too when FIIs have sold for nearly 1,000 crore. So now FIIs have, like, alternatively they are buying and selling, but today we have to see whether they are going to follow through selling, or they are going to buy. Wednesday usually markets used to be highly volatile, but yesterday remarkably stable market. But we cannot say same thing about it today because IT stocks, some good news, some bad news, or how to factor in, or how much long or short left in the system. Definitely TCS will be looking for some kind of short covering. And number one, the results are better than expected. And number two, the buyback share was expected around 4,200, but they have announced 4,500. Yesterday it has fallen 1.5%. Even that 1.5% recovers. Also, like, it will contribute a great extent to Nifty. So assuming that there is about 10% weightage for IT stocks in Nifty, and assuming that IT stocks shoots up by 2% on an average, so that alone will contribute 0.2% for Nifty. So So that alone will contribute about 50-60 point for Nifty. So that is why the SGX Nifty is showing about 90-100 point higher. So by looking at the open interest, so as I told you yesterday, 18,200, 18,100, 18,000 all added huge open interest. So it looks like the support will be around 18,180 for today, and the resistance will be around 18,400. So markets, if it opens significantly gap up, I'm sure I'm expecting some kind of a selling towards the end of the day. For various reasons. Number one, if any significant move, the people who have taken speculative position ahead of the results will like to book profits. And number two, FIA started selling once again for more than 1,000 crore. So definitely if the market moves still higher, so they might look to book profit. But again, it all depends, what kind of shares go higher. So they won't be selling much into IT stocks. So if the banking stocks move higher, they might be selling. And another one more interesting stock, after a long time, Reliance Industries has crossed 2,500. So let us see what happens. Hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for watching.